Alright, everybody. So, this is going to be a little different than the stuff we've been talking about a lot lately due to the election results, but I feel we could use a little bit of a palate cleanser right now, away from the awfulness of politics, and not to mention talking about mainstream stuff that everyone else is talking about is how the right blew up and got into everybody's feeds. So hey, the left can't be afraid to talk about these things too. You see, MrBeast used to be the king of YouTube, and in a way he still is. There's not a lot of accountability for content creators, and cancel culture, as it turns out, was never really real unless you were the perfect target for it. Now, MrBeast has long since lost the respect of the YouTube community. When it comes to most people that actively engage with the YouTube content space and the landscape, the people in it, the community, or even the content creators themselves, none of them like MrBeast anymore. He has been continuously exposed for quite a few bad things. And one of the things that some smaller creators have called him out for recently, besides the whole, like, hiring pedos thing and the faking videos and the not paying people out thing, MrBeast has gotten shit from a few creators over helping or running crypto scams. And he's been doing this for a long time, way before people started calling him out. And for some reason, as I said before, because cancel culture isn't real unless you're a perfect target, no one was calling him out for it. Hell, most of the things he ended up getting canceled for were already public until he got called out for them. Like, everybody could have just found them. They were just sitting out there, waiting for someone to make a big deal out of it. MrBeast is still popular enough because most of his fans are children. He won't fail anytime soon. That is a shame. That is a shame, and YouTube will certainly not do anything about this creator, regardless of how many people he scams or lies to or misrepresents or clickbaits or whatever. It's the same deal as like KSI and Logan Paul and Jake Paul, who have been some of the douchiest individuals ever that have infiltrated YouTube like a decade ago by now, almost a decade ago, have ruined it since. And honestly, Logan Paul, the Paul brothers, KSI, fucking, who else? MrBeast, all these big, like, clouded up YouTubers have done irreparable damage, not only to our culture, because our culture is so influenced by YouTube, but also to the platform itself. Like, YouTube, it's such a shame that YouTube may never go back to what it was in the early 2010s, you know? I hope and plead every day that, like, it cycles back around and, like, one day gaming Let's Plays are the meta again or something, but I don't think we're ever going back to that, and it makes me so sad that the culture and platform of YouTube have moved away and towards this, like, slop, clickbait, clout-chasing bullshit. But anyway, getting that aside, MrBeast is finally being investigated by the legend CoffeeZilla for his crypto scamming allegations. Now, this video already has, wow, 4.5 million views in a day. Good lord, CoffeeZilla, you're cooking right now. Hot damn, I'm gonna drop a like on the video. Make sure it helps to pop off. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and check out this video. I am quite excited to watch it. I haven't even seen a second of it myself. I'm just excited to see it. I'm excited to finally watch this thing, so let's just hop right on in. Let's see what all this situation is about. Is MrBeast truly a crypto scammer? The answer is, in my opinion, undoubtedly yes. I think him working with Logan Paul at all was a massive red flag.
I investigated MrBeast, who is recently accused of making $23 million with insider trading and scams. I wanted to know the full story, so I reached out to everyone, from researchers to crypto projects, even to MrBeast himself. And let me say, the story is more complicated than you think. I want to be clear. What MrBeast did, what his team did, is shady. But what we care about is, did he cross that bright red line from shady to illegal scam? And contrary to what Twitter says, I don't think that's an easy answer. Instead, I think the answer will depend on you.
Interesting.
If you love MrBeast, there will be an explanation at every turn and a scapegoat. But if you hate MrBeast, what I'm about to show you will seem unethical and like a clear abuse of fame.
Truest statement ever. That is literally how everybody operates on the internet. Yep. Yep. It has to be something like really bad and personally over the line and like feeling like a betrayal for a lot of audiences to drop their fave. Otherwise, they'll just come up with excuses. I've encountered that when I criticize other creators so much.
aim for money. So already this story is difficult, but I want to make you aware of two more things which matter. First, I have gone to MrBeast's team to try to fact check this story extensively, and they declined to fact check or comment on my many questions. Instead, they gave me a statement which we will get to. Secondly, I have a bit of history with MrBeast. I interviewed and spoke positively about him in the past, but also his new co-founder is...
To be fair, everyone's spoken positively of MrBeast in the past. If you were an OG MrBeast hater, then you are a brave person, okay? You were getting shit for years, called insane for daring to criticize the, like, Jesus Christ figure of YouTube. You would be absolutely dogpiled for any criticism of MrBeast for so long. It wasn't until MrBeast had a trans friend that it became acceptable to criticize him, and that is when the cancellation happened. Before that, though, he was literally untouchable.
Suing me, and his other co-founder threatened to sue me. So you can make of that what you will. As always, I just want to let you know where I'm coming from, and I've tried to get all sides of the story. We're going to start with the major allegations against MrBeast and build on those. They come from two sources. Firstly, an investigation by Soma XBT, which claims MrBeast made $10 million by backing low-cap crypto tokens, which are down 90%. And the second...
Yeah, Cavernacle's a tanky, and he's like, you know, pro-China and Russia and everything, but I will say... vindication must feel good for him after all those anti-MrBeast videos that got dogpiled for so long. He must feel very happy for those to finally not age like wine, or age like milk, as people would say.
Second investigation comes from a group of 5 people who investigated MrBeast and found $23 million in profits from, quote, scams, shady deals, and his network. Now, there are a lot of crypto projects they go over, and I want to be clear. Some of these allegations, I agree, are bad. Others, I think, are actually worse than have been reported, and still other allegations I simply disagree with them on. So we're going to start with what I don't agree with.
So,
according to the report...
Here's the thing I don't know about this whole situation. I wasn't aware that there was some big drama happening on Twitter. If you follow me, then you know I don't really use Twitter anymore. I've kind of migrated over to Blue Sky. And even there, I don't post super often. But if you want to follow me there, I highly recommend it. I post there. I didn't know there was a big thing going on. I thought this was referring to MrBeast working with Logan Paul and all of Logan Paul's crypto scams. Frankly, I didn't even know MrBeast was accused of running his own crypto scam. I thought the issue was like the collaborative deal. Is it? KSI was deeply involved in promoting PMON. It's highly likely MrBeast made an investment from that insider information of KSI's promotion deal with PMON. Okay, so possible inside trading going on. Oof.
Report Polychain Monsters, or PMON, is a project which KSI promoted heavily. MrBeast did not. But MrBeast did get in the presale and make a lot of money. And thus, the conclusion is made, it's highly likely MrBeast made an investment from that insider information of KSI's promotional deal. But there's simply no evidence provided of this. I have the same thoughts about Jigstack, another coin which KSI promoted.
Jigstack?
And the conclusion is, though...
I don't know why, but that name just... it's hilarious to me. Jigstack. I hate crypto bros. All the names they give things are just they're so quirky in Reddit, guys. Aren't they so? Reddit's gonna love them. Reddit's gonna love this, guys. Oh, aren't I quirky? Oh, crypto.
Oh, MrBeast did not
Dogecoin to the moon, Elon Musk.
Officially follow Jigstack. In his network, KSI was involved in promoting Jigstack. From this information, MrBeast invested and made a large return. Here, again, there isn't concrete proof. Now, I asked the team who wrote this piece, and the lead author, Casper Vandeluk, told me, quote, having known MrBeast having a very strong connection with KSI, it's basically highly probable he was vested as a result of KSI. No concrete evidence, just going off probabilities. But I'm going to say, I don't agree with that, and I'm going to toss those probabilities aside. I think they reach too far. Instead, I'm going to stick with what we can prove happened. Luckily, the biggest claims in this report, the biggest moneymakers, are much better supported by evidence. Starting with Super. This is the project MrBeast is alleged to have made the most amount of money on, over $10 million based on a presale of $100,000. As for evidence, we have leaked screenshots showing MrBeast telling Super's founder that he can do $100K. Then we have a wallet that both investigations trace to MrBeast, sending $100K to the presale wallet. And then we have the same wallets getting millions of these super tokens in a period of unlocks, which were almost all sold aggressively. Now, why is this bad? Well, MrBeast is obviously hugely influential, and he publicly associated himself with the project twice. Once on March 3rd.
Yeah, so this is another situation where this is happening constantly. This is probably the most common form of crypto scam there is, and I've talked about it before, specifically when we covered CoffeeZilla's video about that Trump cryptocurrency scam. what will happen is a crypto company, a company that wants to like start up a new coin, will reach out to a public figure, say a YouTuber, for instance, and they will name a coin after them or something, or not even do that, just make a new coin, and then offer a deal with the YouTuber that they'll get, like, on the ground floor, right up front, right then and there, a certain amount of the coin, and maybe even on top of that, a payment, and then they'll be paid that to promote the coin, which they obviously have a strong interest in doing incessantly, because if the coin goes up in value, then they can sell it later and they end up getting more money back, actual money, which is what they want. And so Elon Musk was known to do this for a while, and I genuinely wonder if Elon made like billions we don't know about off of crypto, because he's a massive market manipulator. What Elon does with cryptocurrencies is a crime to do with stocks. What he does is he buys a bunch of, say, Dogecoin, and then he starts tweeting Dogecoin to the moon, Dogecoin to the moon, and all of his sycophantic followers buy out Dogecoin, and then he sells. You can tell it's him selling because Dogecoin experiences massive, out-of-nowhere drops. Like, one person sold at, like, $1 billion worth of Dogecoin all at once, like every time it has a big spike upwards, and it goes back down to like an even level that all the hodlers keep it at. But it's just illegal. It's just illegal, and I wonder how much money Elon was able to scam people out of, basically, using that. And remember, ironically, it was Andrew Tate who said it best. For anyone to win in crypto, for any one person to win in crypto, a lot of people have to lose big time.
3rd, 2021, he responded to a tweet with eyeball emojis, and then he interacted a second time on May 12th, 2021. This is much worse. The founder, Elio Trades, had tweeted, "There's a gym sitting there on the market at eye-watering prices set to explode during the DeFi Summer 2.0. MrBeast's response, Super? But what he doesn't say is that he'd already purchased a huge stake in Super at this point, and on the day that he's tweeting, he was selling tokens.
Yeah, so this is very much just the same shit Elon does. God, MrBeast, I called this out as like a cringy tendency of MrBeast, and I got shit for it back when it was like, you know, unacceptable to criticize him, but people who were around for it probably saw it. I never liked how much of a dick rider for Elon Musk MrBeast is, and it always felt like MrBeast wanted to be like Elon Musk, and it felt like Elon Musk had to have been like, he has to be just a massive Musk fanboy. And he toned it back as Elon got more, like, crazy right-wing pro-Trump. But, man, the more we learn about this guy, the more like Elon we find out he is, including the stuff that Elon doesn't want people to know about.
Allegedly. Not only that, he had been selling tokens and continued to sell tokens. In the 72 hours after the May 12th tweet, MrBeast sold about $200,000 worth of these tokens. And remember the context. He's responding to the founder of the coin discussing a gym at eye-watering prices that's going to explode during the summer. And MrBeast's response is the coin he's selling. So publicly, it's signaling, hey, Super is this undervalued coin, and privately, MrBeast allegedly sold. Now, I ran these wallets by MrBeast, as well as the accusation, but I didn't get a reply. Instead, I got a heavily lawyered statement from a spokesman, who I'm going to warn you is about to complicate things. Quote, "These investments were made and managed in consultation with industry experts to ensure full compliance with all appropriate rules and regulations. The wallet is not owned or managed by Jimmy, but rather a fund led by respected and sophisticated managers. The fund closely evaluated and scrutinized hundreds and hundreds of opportunities, which resulted in several investments. Some have been more successful, others less, and others still works in progress. The fund's investment strategies apply the same rigorous standards as many other experienced investors in the field." Now,
guys, my brother was on my Xbox. That's why my KD got dropped below 1, bro. Like, my brother, like, got on my Xbox, and he started playing a few matches of deathmatch, and he sucked shit and just tanked my KD. I swear, but, like, yesterday, my KD was 1.2. I swear, it was my brother. My brother was on my computer, dude. I swear. Is that basically the response that, that MrBeast had? Like, yo, no, don't worry about it. That was my brother on my phone. Yeah, I was just fucking around. Are you aware... Jesus Christ. Dude, Shadow Raven Studios alt in YouTube chat, guys. If you looked fast enough, you might have spotted him.
I have a lot of questions. But the big thing is Jimmy denies doing any of the trading or managing the trading and blames it on a fund. So I asked some obvious follow-up questions. What is the name of this fund? Who are the industry experts? And what rules and regulations were followed that allowed you to tweet about a coin while your fund is selling? I didn't get a response. It's worth mentioning the spokesman is Matthew Hiltzik, a well-known crisis management consultant. Thankfully, online, there still are a number of clues we can.
Yeah, I know that there's a higher bar that CoffeeZilla with his investigations has to meet, and he did. To be fair, I'm highly biased against MrBeast, so I'm likely to see these things in the worst possible light, as he even mentioned, and I agreed. But let's be real here. When you are clearly market manipulating a crypto that you are allegedly, and there is evidence for the allegations, selling behind the scenes on the same days that you're pumping with your influence, and on top of that, you hire a crisis PR firm manager to deal with the public response to any allegations of this, man, you are guilty, dude. I'm sorry. There is no way to look more guilty than to scream that you are. Like, Jesus, dude.
Follow to try to find the right person for this fund. The reason most people link MrBeast to this wallet we've been tracking is mostly based on a tweet by MrBeast saying he bought a specific CryptoPunk, which belonged to an account which goes by Wu-Tang Clan. People assumed, understandably, that this was MrBeast's wallet. But what is lesser known is that another account has also tweeted about CryptoPunks and has the same ties back to Wu-Tang Clan. A guy named Jason Williams. He's followed by MrBeast on Twitter, and he's the author of a book on Bitcoin, so he's a crypto guy. And I found Jason tweeting about another CryptoPunk saying,
okay, so something that I heard was that MrBeast is like super deep in the crypto sphere. I don't know how that shit works behind the scenes, but the vibe I've gotten of it is that it's super goddamn shady. Like, there's a lot of weird connections and dark, like, handshakes behind the scenes and stuff. Like, just weird stuff happening. And people whose names you've never heard of that are oddly billionaires for, I'm sure, reasons that are completely legally and morally fine, that just crop up out of nowhere. It's just, there's so much shadiness around this entire crypto space. Like, I genuinely do not the more I learn about it, the more it's like, oh yeah, this is just completely a market for scammers. Like, crypto exists as a way for making like, you know, obviously having a transaction take place between two people if they don't want to use, like, their different countries' currencies or whatever. A lot of criminals use it because they can exchange it easily for real money and not have that money be traced in any way, kind of deal. I know that, like, drug dealers like to use crypto, or at least they did, or something. That was what it was supposed to be for, right? Like, untraceable transactions of like buying things and whatnot. But man, ever since the inception of it, it's been shady, and it's only gotten shadier. I genuinely just raise an eyebrow at anybody who's deep into the crypto scene. It's so shady.
I hope you enjoy your new home, sold for 100 ETH. That sale he's talking about links back to the same address MrBeast does, Wu-Tang Clan. On YouTube, there's even more clues. Jason can be seen surfing wearing a Wu-Tang Clan shirt, and his brand name, Going Parabolic, happens to be owned by the same MrBeast wallet, goingparabolic.eth. So there's very good evidence that Jason Williams was also involved in this same wallet, which means that it might be true that MrBeast wasn't the guy buying or selling, which would be good for MrBeast and bad for these investigations. But just when I thought MrBeast might have...
But he's still profiting from and technically has access to the wallet of an account that is buying and selling crypto as he promotes it, and he's profiting from it, presumably, if he owns or has any possession of the wallet.
No say in what this wallet did. I saw this podcast with Logan Paul.
Also, why is the biggest YouTuber, period, endorsing crypto scams or cryptocurrencies in general? Why is this big kids content YouTuber endorsing crypto on Twitter? That alone was already like a massive red flag. Granted, he was doing it in replies to posts, and those don't tend to get seen as much, but damn.
where Jimmy discusses CryptoPunks once again, and things get complicated.
So me and Logan both bought punks. You guys have probably seen on his Twitter.
Okay, I've seen this clip. This clip right here is really good. It's a great insight into what I'm talking about when I say there's like this weird spider web of connections in the crypto scammer slash investor slash influencer space. It's so weird.
That he bought a bunch of CryptoPunks at the same time, right?
Yep.
Gary pulled us in that call.
After segments, I read.
Have you ever told that story?
No.
Gary V. It's like 11 p.m. just out of nowhere.
Yeah,
just
who's
calls
Gary
me
V?
And he's like, "Yo, I got like 30 people to call. Hop in." I'm like, I don't care. He's like, "It'll be the best decision of your life. Just get in." I was like, "Okay."
Yeah.
And so I just joined the call, and I just see like Logan, and I don't even know these other people. I don't want to put them on blast.
Every heavy hitter you can imagine who's worth $1 billion was on this one call, and Gary V is in the little corner, the little square. He's going, CryptoPunks. It's gonna be huge. It's gonna be the next Facebook. Where all of us were like, okay,
Everyone's
Gary.
judging. I'm texting Logan.
He's
I'm like,
is
Gary lost
this
his
legit?
mind.
Bro, all of us were like, yo, Gary's nuts. Yo, Gary was right again.
This clip, ever existing, should have been the nail in the coffin of MrBeast's career. I don't know how, as a platform, we have allowed these douchebags. Like, it's very much like with the right's domination of the internet space, where we have policed, as a community, we have policed the internet so badly that these people, the worst people to come out of having prominence on the internet, not only are they popular and successful, but they are the most popular and the most successful. How the fuck do we continue to allow this? Like, this has to stop, dude. We have to start, like, actually... I don't know, YouTube needs to do something. The community needs to start, like, nothinging these creators, like, just unsubbing and ignoring them entirely. No making videos on them to drive up their engagement and attention towards them. No more giving air to their controversies, maybe. I don't know what could do it. I don't know how you choke out the relevance of these douchebags who do nothing, but it's mostly kids in their audience too, so you can't reach them and explain to them why they're supporting a douchebag. They don't care. They're just watching the slop that the YouTube algorithm is shoving down their throats.
I bought a bunch.
Wait.
Yeah, I bought quite a few.
How many?
I don't want to say it, but
Please.
I bought multiple ones. Yeah.
Well, bro, are you in double digits, Punks?
Just shy.
Huh. Well, this clip is very interesting because Jimmy said he made the decision to get CryptoPunks based on a call with Gary V. But those punks are owned by the wallet we just said was controlled by Jason. So it appears sometimes MrBeast is telling Jason what to buy for this fund. MrBeast then later talks about selling these CryptoPunks and rolling the money into a new project. And once again, it sounds like he's in charge.
Well, I've already sold quite a few of them, so I don't.
What?
The
He's on to the next thing.
I bought a bunch of, so then I rolled the money into VFriends because.
Remember, when you want to brag about how good you are at making money off of crypto, it's all you, but when it turns out something that you bragged about doing is illegal, it's, oh, it was someone else, I don't even manage the wallet, yeah, it's not even me, I barely have anything to do with it, I'm barely affiliated, it's not even mine,
Gary, same thing, called me, he's like, VFriends, I was like, I don't know, but last time I made money, sure.
I'll be honest, these clips to me make it difficult to assume MrBeast had no idea what's going on. He talks about CryptoPunks and VFriends like personal investments. And on Twitter, he says that not only he bought CryptoPunks, he also tweets about loading up on VFriends. But again, I have to say, it is also abundantly clear Jason Williams was involved. He says, hey Gary, thanks for the VFriends gift code. It was a gift from Gary to MrBeast. I'm very thankful for it. He didn't have to send anything. So once again, Jason Williams appears to be involved and have something to do with the trading or management of MrBeast's crypto wallet, but we know MrBeast made some of the decisions. So of course, I asked MrBeast to explain himself if he had any say over the trading, but once again, there's no response. So now I want to turn back to Super. We know from leaked DMs that MrBeast and not Jason set up this pre-sale, and we know...
Man, I really do think that in the future, it needs to be heavily encouraged that no YouTuber ever gets dick ridden as hard as MrBeast. I think dick riding content creators or just like Like, everyone does it, and I feel like it needs to stop. Everyone's got, like, a group of creators they dick ride for. Listen, if they're retired and they don't exist anymore and their YouTube channel is, like, an archive, and they're just, like, an old YouTuber you go back to and you love them and they never had a big controversy, sure. Dick ride them till the sun comes down. Or comes up and goes down again. Dick ride them all day and night. But if they're a YouTuber that's, like, a massive person with a platform, do not, like... Don't do this. Don't allow them to build a cult of personality like this. Don't let anybody do this ever again. It is just not the kind of thing that the internet needs any more of. It's only making this place worse. What if we dick ride you? Only if you are telling me that I am the best streamer and you are also liking and commenting and also donating. Then you can dick ride me. But besides that, be reasonable. You know, think critically. If you think I'm wrong about something, I don't know, tell me what you think I'm wrong about, and I'll argue with you. And if you're really stupid in what you're wrong, or when you think I'm wrong about, then I might ban you. But more likely than not, I'll just call you out for being wrong. Or maybe you'll correct me, and I'll be like, oh, okay.
Oh, that MrBeast made the tweet. So now we have to guess. Here's what we know. We know MrBeast set up the pre-sale according to leaked screenshots. We know MrBeast made the tweet. But we don't know whether it was Jason doing the trading of Super, or if he was doing the trading, did MrBeast know about it? Did Jason know?
Dude, I stayed up so late last night playing Valorant with my friends, and now my eyes are all watering and like tired. Oh, don't worry, I'm getting a monster soon. I'll be okay.
About the tweet. These are the questions that ultimately matter. And yes, I reached out to Jason Williams for a comment. He didn't reply. I did, however, get a hold of Elio Trades, who is the founder of Super, and he insisted that MrBeast's tweet was not a part of a deal for promotion. But you should know, he also mentions how upset...
Oh, it doesn't matter if it's part of a deal for promotion. It's market manipulation. That's what it is. It's just not considered a crime when it's crypto. But if he was doing this with stocks, it would be.
He was with how pre-sale investors sold their tokens, saying most of them sold, including MrBeast. So those are the facts. MrBeast gets involved in a pre-sale, for some reason tweets at this project twice, one time on the day his fund is selling tokens, where he seems to imply that they're undervalued. In total, he's alleged to have made $11 million with this deal, according to the report. So yeah, that's really bad. Now we're going to turn to another allegation, which is about Earn, or Eternity Chain. There are some facts which are the same. There are others that are different. For example, instead of MrBeast setting up the deal directly, the team at Earn claims they never spoke to MrBeast. Quote, "We were speaking to his fund manager. And when I asked about these wallets selling allegedly over $4 million in tokens, they say, quote, MrBeast's fund was an early investor in our pre-sale. He had the same unlock schedule as everyone else. Were we happy with the way he sold? Definitely not. But legally, there was nothing we could have done. And then, just like with Super, they claim they didn't ask for a promotion of the project, but that MrBeast decided to comment once himself.
Dude, I love how, okay, so obviously, I don't think there was ever a promotion. I don't think this is a situation where MrBeast was paid to promote the crypto, like is typically common with content creators and, you know, big influencers when they get a crypto sponsor or whatever. I think this is just market manipulation, and even the company that runs the crypto came out and said, yeah, the timing of his sale of his coin was definitely... Yeah, but, you know, there was nothing we could do about it legally. It's like, dude, when the response to how he sold the coin is, there was nothing we could do about it legally, I don't think that implies that what he did was good. I think it implies they couldn't do anything about it legally, but the fact they brought that up in the first place implies something else, in my opinion.
Anyways, on March 9th, 2021, MrBeast responds to Eternity Chain saying this one will be hype. It's worth noting, once again, about 24 hours before saying this fund wallet purchased over $100,000 of Earn tokens in addition to the presale. Now, what is different about Super is that MrBeast's name was put publicly on the Eternity Chain website. On their investors and partners page, you might be asking, well, which is it? Is he an investor or a partner? And the answer is both. He got into the presale, and the Earn team also claims that he partnered with them for an NFT drop. Supposedly, it was a charity drop and a normal NFT drop. Now, the charity drop specifically did happen in association with one of MrBeast's projects, Team Seas, saying, quote, all proceeds will go towards cleaning up the seas around the world.
Dude, this shit pisses me off so much. Back when my channel was, like, blowing up, and I had a ton of people watching streams, I was finally at a place where I could afford to do my first charity stream. And at the time, the Team C's charity that MrBeast was doing was like the biggest charity around. Everyone was talking about it. Everyone was down for it. And everyone agreed I should help raise money for the Team C's charity, because there's like a little thing you can click and it sends like the donos from your stream to there, and it confirms it with like a little thing, and I posted on Twitter. And I felt so nice. Like we raised like $4,700 for Team C's, and I felt great about it. Now looking back at it, I'm like, did Team C's do anything? Were we fucking scammed by MrBeast on that? Did the largest content creator on the entire platform promote a scam charity? And not only the largest content creator, but every other content creator on the platform who chose to trust MrBeast and that he would like know his shit and wouldn't promote something that, upon everyone else promoting, would get everybody into shit, basically, if it came out it was fucked. I really do wonder about that, because if it was true, I feel like there would be a vested interest by a lot of YouTubers to cover it up, because so many of them promoted Team C's and Team Trees.
World. This was early November 2021. Then the official Team C's account posted on November 3rd, 2021, quote, "What an awesome crypto collaboration in support of the team." Then the CEO of Eternity Chain, Nick Rose, confirms in Telegram that the drop is supported by MrBeast, saying Earn and ETH tokens will be accepted for the charity auction, which was slated to last 2 months. Now, the reason I'm sharing all of this is because 1 month into this 2-month charity auction on November 30th, 2021, the Rocket Fund or Beast Fund or whatever you want to call it starts selling huge amounts of this Earn token. Allegedly, they
did end up removing 34 million tons of garbage from the ocean. Okay, that makes me feel better. That's like a drop in the bucket, but at least they did something and it wasn't just a scam, right?
Over $2 million, while the charity itself was still going on. Now, I know that sounds horrible. It looks horrible. It is horrible. Although I have to tell you, personally, I don't think this was a master plan to pump a coin with a charity auction. If it was the plan, it was a bad one, because the NFT auction was ultimately a flop. But do I also think it doesn't matter, because regardless of your intention, selling tokens within a month of your 2-month charity auction is wrong, stupid, and unethical? Yes, I think that as well. Because in case you forgot, MrBeast is the charity guy whose name is on the website. It isn't a fund. It isn't a crypto rocket fund. It's MrBeast's branding. I even asked.
And it's MrBeast's trust, MrBeast's credibility that was lended to the charity as well, of which he had the most back then, you must understand.
The Earn team about this, saying, quote, "Why did y'all list MrBeast instead of Rocket Fund in your partners investors? Was that discussed?" They say, quote, "We listed him, MrBeast, as a partner, and quote, yes, they accepted that." So according to the Earn team, MrBeast knew or should have known that his name was on the line for this investment and partnership. And yet this fund, his fund, whatever you want to call it, sold tokens 1 month after starting a 2-month NFT auction for charity. To be fair again, though, it's hard to oversell how bad this NFT auction did. I have found only one NFT that appears to have sold here, but the bids were made in the Earn token, which the fund was selling, and the actual sale of the NFT.
So no one bought any of the NFTs that were using Team C's to shill. All right. Well, that's nice at least. God, using your charity Twitter account to shill for a crypto or an NFT? How did people not realize this? Team C's was like the most looked at charity in the world at the time.
Didn't happen until after the fund sold in November 30th. The transfer happened in December 23rd. So of course, I went to MrBeast directly to answer this and see if there was some more context they could provide. There was no response other than the statement we've already read from MrBeast that he did not control the trading. Although again, that isn't a really satisfying answer, because we've established MrBeast would sometimes direct what to buy and sell to this fund, like CryptoPunks. Personally, like I said, I don't think this...
Yeah, the excuse is the most like, you cannot prove what I am culpable for and what I am response ever. It's like, well, I formulated a response where there's no possibility of gathering evidence in, for or against the claim that you have against me. Like, okay.
This was a pre-planned scheme.
Convenient.
But regardless of intentions, if you're the charity guy, you support a charity, it flops while your fund makes millions of dollars in profits because it's selling the same Earn token people could bid on the charity with, that just is awful. And you should feel awful about it. Look, now I want to move on from that to talking about our final token, XCAD. This is a token you may remember from our investigation into MrBeast's business partner, KSI. But unlike KSI, MrBeast was...
Remember, Logan Paul, KSI, and Jake Paul are all scamming pieces of shit. MrBeast is best buddies with them. Why should we assume he's any different? Especially after everything we know about him now, and everything we know about them as well. And everything MrBeast definitely knows about them, and still chooses to collaborate with them.
Was not promoting it a lot on Twitter. In fact, the only reason we know MrBeast was in the presale is that there were several articles about it bragging about that fact. Once again, MrBeast's name was used to promote this instead of the fund itself. And internally to investors, I have to say, this built up a lot of excitement, not just because MrBeast is a huge name, but because XCAD had what's called creator tokens. So the idea to some investors is that, well, if they're
these are the promotional ones. These are the ones where they reach out to creators and they're like, oh, we made Xanderhall token, promote Xanderhall token. That's never happened, as far as I know. Maybe there is a Xanderhall token, but that is like how they do this. They'll make like a token, name it after a YouTuber, reach out to the YouTuber, try to get them to endorse it. Or buy some even, and say publicly they bought it. That's all it takes for the coin to explode in value. And then the people who made it, who obviously own a bunch of it, on the ground floor at its lowest price, end up selling when it hits its peak.
Investing, MrBeast and KSI, what if they were ever to launch creator tokens? That would be massive. And I bring this up because some people might ask, like, what do these affiliations, how do they impact people buying these projects? And the answer from what I've seen is they actually do impact it quite a lot because people are anticipating like further involvement, and also the idea is like they must not be investing unless they're long-term holders. You can see this in the Telegram chat. It became so common that in the XCAD community, one of the admins says, here we go again, another community member asking if there's any possibility of a MrBeast KSI token. And meanwhile, by the way, as that's happening, as the investors are hoping for these creator tokens and that they're imminent, behind the scenes, something entirely different had been happening. Like with Super and Earn, MrBeast's fund sold a lot of their XCAD early in 2021 rather than holding their tokens. And this was surprising to even the founder of XCAD himself, Oliver Bell, who said they told him they were going to do the opposite. He tells me, quote, hey, so MrBeast reached out to me during our pre-sale.
Yep, they did something shady, and that's why the company said in their statement to CoffeeZilla that there was nothing they could do about it legally. You would never say there's nothing we could do about the way he sold legally if the way he sold was fine. And there was nothing wrong with it. I guess he had taken an agreement where he agreed to sell a certain amount of value or a certain amount of the coin for a certain amount of time. And he sold once it hit its perceived peak regardless and broke the deal. But it wasn't legally binding, clearly.
Raised. A group was set up with his team, and we had a call with his team, and they said they liked the concept. There was no strings attached to the investment. They did, however, want a lot bigger ticket than what I offered them, which I'm glad I did not fulfill. We discussed.
Okay, seriously, what the fuck is the point of crypto? Is it just a big example of the greater fool theory? Okay, let me break this down for you. I'm going to give you the best explanation of crypto that has ever been given in the history of humanity, all right? Crypto is literally just imaginary currency, all right? But it's imaginary currency that exists in the same way that like an item in a video game exists, like a really rare item you might have in an MMO, where sure it's just ones and zeros and it doesn't actually exist, but it does at the same time, and that it is considered to have value of some sort, and it is also backed up by some kind of institution. Generally, some entity will start a coin, and when they start the coin, they set a certain amount of it to exist, or a market cap. And depending on how much of it has been bought, or what percentage of the coin has been bought, you get to the point where it continues to grow in value. I believe more coin can be added, they can expand it. It's all fake bullshit, just to be very clear with you. This is all speculative, just like people evaluating things at a certain amount. People can set the base value for crypto at a certain amount. There's a lot of fuckery that goes along around the scenes. There are a million shit coins because basically anyone can start a crypto. But the original idea for crypto, what it was supposed to be, was a decentralized currency that people could use for specific transactions online. And the idea was like, oh, you want to buy a pizza with crypto? You could do it if you have some like Bitcoin. And the idea was Bitcoin might reach like $1 one day, For a long time, that was the hope. That might reach $1 one day. Now one Bitcoin is worth $80,000. But crypto very quickly went from being this thing that people were excited about gaining value because they hoped that it could replace the US dollar as a go-to form of universal currency for the internet. Instead, it became a thing to try and make it raise in value. The people realized it operated a lot like the stock market. If people keep buying and holding, then the value will go up. And not only that, but most coins have to be mined. In the case of crypto, you have to dedicate a processor of some kind. Nowadays, people tend to use GPUs because GPU processors are the best for it, to run calculations that after a certain amount of time and a certain amount of energy and processing power has been expended, you have a certain amount of that crypto. Back in the day, apparently you could mine crypto on a laptop. Bitcoin, you could just mine on a laptop. Nowadays, though, it takes like a building worth of machines running day and night for months to mine one Bitcoin, because one Bitcoin's $80,000. And the reason why it's reached that value is partially because people keep buying it, and so the perceived value that everyone just accepts has gone up, and it is where it is. But also, people have continuously mined Bitcoins, thus unlocking more of the finite amount of them that exists. And once they're held and owned and cannot be accessed anymore, the value of even a sliver of Bitcoin goes up. And that's why when you buy Bitcoin on the market, say you use Robinhood or something, technically you're just taking some of Robinhood's Bitcoin that they have in their like stocks, but regardless, you take some of their Bitcoin and they manage it all for you, and then you end up getting the payout for it. But imagining it is your actual crypto wallet, if you were using some other crypto exchange to do this, your buying of it is taking up what was already available and thus increasing the value. It's very similar to how stocks work, but it's truly all just ways for it went from being a cool idea that sounded exciting and neat to a way that people could try and make themselves rich. And because so many people have bought into the hype of cryptocurrency and Bitcoin and whatnot, they buy in particularly late, and people who bought earlier and have been trying to convince people to buy, that, mind you, you know how like there was that meme about how everyone knew that one guy who was always telling them to buy cryptocurrency, to buy Bitcoin? It's because they already bought Bitcoin probably years ago, and they want you to buy it. They want more people to buy it so they can sell and make money off of you losing money. That's how it works. The people who get in early make the money. The people who get in late lose all their money to the people who got in early. That's simply how crypto works. It is just a method through which everybody is like, maybe I'll be one of the lucky ones that scams everybody else instead of being one of the poor bastards who gets scammed. It's gambling. It's literally just gambling. It's just a special kind of gambling. That's really, with pyramid schemes and far less regulation. That's the only way to break it down.
Not just flipping this token, as this can damage projects if people have decent sized tickets. It was my understanding we were aligned on this. However, after listing to which XCAD performed well, there was heavy dumping from a wallet linked to MrBeast's team. I got in contact with them immediately and asked them why they were selling like this. Now, Oliver later claims this discussion about flipping tokens and them being aligned about the fact they're not going to flip these tokens so quickly was with Jason. And apparently, Oliver was so upset about what happened, he DM'd Jimmy directly, quote, explaining his team will ruin his reputation. And look, sorry to be a broken record, but yes, I reached out to Jimmy about this too. And once again,
sadly, I don't even think a bunch of billionaire crypto bros can ruin MrBeast's reputation. You can't reach an audience of slop-eating kids and convince them that their favorite slop producer is a bad person who they shouldn't support. They don't have morals or empathy. They wouldn't even entertain the idea of a moral argument, like an argument about how you ought to do something. They won't entertain that.
And there was no reply besides the statement we read earlier. It's worth mentioning that I asked Oliver for proof of this message about ruining relationships, and he said the message had been deleted on Telegram. So who you believe here is up to you. Oliver also says, quote, I don't think Jimmy has a bad heart or is a bad person. I think he has genuine interest in the crypto space, but I think the team that handles his crypto is completely clueless. And here, on this last point, I have to disagree with Oliver. I don't think that Jimmy's crypto team is clueless. I think they saw an opportunity to make millions of dollars with MrBeast's valuable brand.
Yeah, Yeah, oh, the guy who has the biggest YouTube channel in the world, based and is the most wealthy YouTuber in the world, probably, at least YouTuber who's made their wealth off of YouTube. Yeah, he totally accidentally stumbled into making like 10 or 11 million, I think it was, off of that crypto sell. I'm sure it wasn't him maliciously and fully knowingly taking the action that he always knew would make him the most money. Something that he's clearly done for a very long time and gotten very good at, and that's how he got to where he is. Is this him in fucking Dubai, by the way?
Brand, and they took it, and they did make millions of dollars. And along the way, they did some things that were shady. Whether or not you think they were also illegal is probably going to be shaped by our unanswered questions and where you fill in those gaps. For example, do you think MrBeast knew about the selling that was going on May 12th for the super token? Why did he make that tweet? And then, do you think MrBeast knew about the charity auction and the selling that was happening on November 30th? And do you think Oliver Bell DM'd MrBeast and told him his crypto team would ruin his reputation? And if so, was that ignored? I hate to leave so many unanswered questions here, but I warned you, this was a complicated...
Well, that's the thing. CoffeeZilla cannot allege these, like, crimes or something that would be considered potentially slanderous because MrBeast's team will sue. But MrBeast's team, even though they could sue, they would absolutely lose, and the case might be thrown out right away if it's just, he's just reporting on the facts, the opinion is up to the audience. This is very much a, I do not want to get sued, I have told you the facts, I cannot be sued for that. Even if I do, it would be a very easy to deal with slap suit, so that's the most I'll say. It is up to you to use your critical thinking to connect the dots here. That's the vibe I get from this. And you know what? I respect the hell out of that from CoffeeZilla, particularly because, you know what? I'm getting a little bit tired of content that is focused around telling people what to believe. A lot of people might say that's the kind of content I do, but is it necessarily what I do? I feel like I make arguments and try to persuade people, but oftentimes, I don't know, I don't feel like I'm telling people to believe. More often, I feel like I'm yelling at people to Google something. Like, guys, just Google it! It's not that hard! Google sucks now, and even then, it's not that hard, right? Like, I feel like, I don't know, I don't tell people what to think, and I feel like that's something that needs to be encouraged. Just, like, teach people how to think, not what to think. Just like how schools are supposed to do, but don't necessarily achieve that that goal all that well according to the education stats for American students that we actually talked about on yesterday's stream. Apparently, CoffeeZilla used to work for the SEC that investigates multi-level marketing schemes, stock scams, and crypto. Makes sense. He's clearly got a knack for this stuff, and it looks like he's got, like, a lot of experience.
Story. And a big part of the problem is the guy at the center of this story cannot or will not give more than a heavily lawyered statement through a spokesman who's a crisis management consultant. And let me just say, it's also frustrating that this statement takes zero accountability. Despite the fact MrBeast's team knew every major allegation that we're laying out here today, there is no mention of selling while MrBeast was tweeting about Super Token. There's no mention of them selling tokens a month after they partnered with a 2-month charity auction. And because of that, this statement feels very hollow. I think to MrBeast and probably to his fund, maybe this is just business, you know? They set out to make a lot of money, and they made a lot of money. What's the problem, right? This is America. They might think this is the biggest MrBeast nothing burger since MrBeast Burger. But look, honestly, I'd agree with them if they had done this crypto stuff without using MrBeast's name. But they want to have their cake and eat it too. This fund trades on MrBeast's name, as we've seen. They get in pre-sales based on his name. He tweets from his public account, and they're putting his name publicly on projects' websites instead of a fund. But when things go south, suddenly, oh, MrBeast, what? No, no liability, just because he's not sitting there physically pressing the buttons. I don't think...
Like I said, he put forward a suggestion that is unfalsifiable, right? Like, oh, maybe I was the one doing it, maybe I wasn't. It's impossible to prove or disprove, but all of the evidence would suggest, and a bit of critical thinking as well, would suggest that MrBeast was fully aware of what he was doing and was taking the action that he is a smart, business-minded guy who has appeared on podcasts and is regarded as a business mogul and an entrepreneurial expert, knew would make him the most money. He's not stupid. He hasn't continuously, time after time, luckily tripped his way into piles of cash.
That's the way it works. Look, I want to close with the final part of this CryptoPunks podcast we showed you earlier, because in many ways, I think it's a microcosm of this story. Obviously, I have to say, I'm not making any comments or judgments about the guy who's suing me, who's also in this clip. That's just coincidence. I am only talking about MrBeast's reaction, because
And I wish CoffeeZilla a great settlement from the court in like compensation for dealing with the bullshit lawsuit.
As MrBeast is talking about Gary V's great CryptoPunks call, there's a moment when the co-host says, hey, maybe instead of Gary V being a genius, maybe it's just the call itself that makes the market. And MrBeast kind of defends it. He says, no, that was in February. CryptoPunks didn't pop until the summer. And, I never talked about CryptoPunks until this very moment.
Can I ask you guys a question? When Gary does that call with all these billionaires and 8 months or a year later, everybody's like, Gary was right again.
Yeah.
Is it possible that he's right because of the call? Do you know what I'm saying?
I think about that a lot.
Yes. If even 4 billionaires drop a few milli on some of that coin, it is going to skyrocket, and it will look as though, oh man, a bunch of people must be buying out this coin. Yes, that's how it works. Yeah. The more money you can put in, especially early on, to like skyrocket a coin up, people will buy into it like crazy, and then you sell, and because you bought so much worth, you can experience unbelievable multiplications of your wealth.
Dude, he has all of these
I think about
billionaire
that a
market
lot.
makers in the thing.
think about
He
it a
makes
lot.
the call, makes the market. By the way, you look around at all the punk owners a year later and you're like, damn, it's all the same motherfuckers that were on the call.
No, because bro, there's 10,000 punks and there's only like 30 of us in the call. We can only own and do so much. There's still an entire
yeah,
market
yeah.
that's gonna happen regardless.
I can tell you, I don't think why, because that was all back like early February. Like
Right.
things didn't pop off till later, and every like NFT project was popping off, not just Punks.
I mean, make no mistake. Like having such influential people involved in projects, it can't hurt the ability for the project
Also,
to
but like,
hold on. The popping off or quote unquote going to the moon of a stock is literally entirely in, if we're talking about it like performance in the past, that's entirely based on perspective, right? Like, look at the path of like the S&P 500 back in 2020, like early in the year, and you'll see that like, damn, things are going up to the moon, but you don't know that in a year, we're going to be entering one of the biggest troughs that the economy has ever seen. And like the index fund fucking just has a big old bowl. And then after Biden has been in office for a while, it starts to escalate back up. And now we're at an all-time high for the S&P 500 right now. And, if you look back at it in hindsight, it's easy to say, oh yeah, this currently upcoming high was always, this is when it popped off. But didn't it technically pop off back in 2020 before the pandemic, when it reached its all-time high before the bull? Like, you can say that, but if it popped off more later, that it's just like, okay, well, more people got on board. It popped off before, too. Like, just because it didn't pop off as hard as it did later doesn't mean it didn't pop off. Clearly, a lot of the attention it got was due to, or a lot of the value that coin gained was due to billionaires buying a shitload of value in it.
like
Work, you know what I'm saying?
95% of those people didn't even mention it. You know what I mean? Like,
Right,
I've never
right.
talked about it publicly.
Yeah, but that last part isn't quite true. The reason we're all here is MrBeast tweeted about CryptoPunks the same day he bought them back in February of 2021. That's how we found his wallet, even though we now know someone else was involved too. And I would apply the same level of scrutiny to many of the investments we've talked about. Was it the genius of Jason Williams, MrBeast, or this fund that made them tens of millions of dollars? Maybe. Or was it the fact that the name they brought to the table was MrBeast, one of the most influential and valuable brands in the world? And that's what got them the great deals. That's what got them a bunch of eyeballs. That's what made it so valuable to have his name on these websites. And maybe
Surely they
that's
didn't do the
what
thing that would make
made
them
the
the most
market.
money that was right
Ultimately,
there.
I think it's for you to decide.
Guys, I don't know. I don't think they took the obvious option that would make them the most money. I think they totally did the right thing and did not manipulate the crypto market and scam their fans and followers into buying into crypto scams that they would be the ones to profit from, not the fans, the content creators that they're fans of. Russia just sued them for, that's a lot of money. That's a Google amount of money, actually, I think. Anyway, God, I really hate these clout YouTubers. Tonight is the fight between Jake Paul and Mike Tyson, and unfortunately, I do not think Mike Tyson is going to win for a variety of reasons. Jake Paul, unfortunately, probably has the advantage and will probably win and continue to be the unbeatable heel that we all hate. Let's just hope he doesn't retire before we get to see him get his ass absolutely kicked. I really need to see that dude get his shit pushed in. I need it to happen. I need that motherfucker to get his shit pushed in so hard, he's pooping out pearls for weeks. That's what I need to happen. Anyway, if you enjoyed this segment, if you found it entertaining, educational, or perhaps enjoyable, consider dropping a like, Consider every like on my streams and videos, or thumbs up you could call them, like casting a blue ballot so that YouTube pushes my content in the algorithm to more people. Trust me, YouTube's like very weird and like odd with how much they recommend my content. Some days it's like, whoa, damn, that video blew up. Look at all these new subs, hot damn. And some days it's like, man, they're not pushing this video at all even to my subs, huh? So hitting that like button, hitting that sub button, commenting down below on all my stuff really does more than any other form of support could possibly mean or do. I really do appreciate it. Consider following my social medias linked down below, especially my Blue Sky. I've been more active on there lately. And join my fan Discord if you haven't already, as every week, at least once a week, I host gaming events, call-in streams, or like tonight, watch parties in my Discord. We do it every Friday, and it's just a cool time to hang out with me, watch a show or a movie, and just like be able to talk and chat and talk to me, and we watch the show, and I screen share it in the Discord, and it's just a great community bonding event. Hope to see you guys there. It's going to be great. We're doing that right after stream today, mind you. And of course, if you want to support me directly, financially, help me keep the lights on and a roof above my head here at the Xander Hall studio, then please consider donating, subscribing, or gifting a sub on my website, xanderhall.com/live, or supporting me financially through YouTube, Twitch, Streamlabs, Streamelements, Patreon, or buying some merch to the Streamlabs link down below. Regardless, though, no matter how much you know, even if you're a lurker, no matter how you support the stream, thank you so much for watching, and as always, have a good one.